your cosmic support team. I have an amazing support team with me, and I am so excited. First of all, look, my co-host is Rhonda Elliott, who's also from Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. It is such a blessing to have Rhonda here running this through Blue Jeans, and Rhonda's wisdom carries me through so many things. And we have another amazing guest who I'm so excited to share with you, and it is Kimberly Wuirch. This woman, this goddess is so amazing in every single way, but she's so normal and humble too. I don't know, she's so approachable. You know, I hold her in such high esteem because of all that she can do, but she's so humble about everything, and so you could talk to her about anything. And she has an amazing Facebook group that she puts in the greatest humor, and it's really hard to get me to laugh. Ha, ha, no, it's hard, but she can do this every single time. She knows, she does Reiki, she does Akashic Records. You can see behind her there floating off with all those books and everything. And she does so many healings, and she's even, my God, she always discovers new healing modalities about her too. Kimberly, will you welcome and share with us some of this new stuff you learned? You know, I like that.
For sure. Well, it's very sweet of you to call me normal. There's a lot of people that would disagree.
Okay, I know what you mean there, but I mean as approachable.
You're very special still, but down to earth at the same time. Yeah.
I'm going to tell my son, they said I'm normal. I am normal.
Not in an insulting way, but in a way that we could talk to you about anything and everything. You're real. Maybe that's what I want to say. You're so for real, and that's like a blessing.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it is important to me to just be authentic, right? Just be me. And as weird as me might be, I'm okay with it. Thank you for having me on. I really love you ladies. I really enjoy my time with you. We were talking before we went live about, you know, how crazy it is, my abilities and stuff. And, you know, for those who don't know what I do, I went from, you know, the more traditional spiritual modalities, which, like you mentioned, your Reiki. I teach all levels of Usui Reiki. I teach Violet Flame Reiki. I teach 3 levels of Akashic Records, that a workshop that I developed. I teach stuff on crystals, so I teach like how to make crystal elixir. Maybe one day I'll do a video on that.
Yes.
I teach empath development, you know, crystal divas, how to connect with the crystal divas and crystals, psychic protection, like you name it, right? But then I also do the healing work that is kind of unique to me, where I do healing psychically, which is why I hold all those infinity healings where I'm doing healing live, and we do it through Zoom, or I do it in large groups in person, or, you know, I do a little sample in these videos, or I do a little Facebook Live video, so I can just offer a little bit of healing to everyone. And it's always fun, because, especially for the new people, because anybody who is skeptical even a little bit is going to realize that it works within minutes. They feel stuff.
Instant,
and then, right, and then they talk themselves out of it, but then they start realizing they feel better, and then they realize stuff is changing, stuff's getting better, or they're detoxing, or all these signs, right? It's like, wow, she really does do that.
Wow.
You know. It's not a common thing to be able to psychically heal people and psychically, you know, give attunements or increase people's energy or psychically ground people, or, you know, any of those things, and feel it to the extent that my clients do. So I'm really, really fortunate. to have these abilities, but it's not for me, right? Don't get me, it's not going to do me any good, right? It's for everyone else, obviously. But it's fortunate that I live in a day and an age where we have all this wonderful technology that allows me to reach the people who truly need it. And they're not all in my hometown. So it's great. But I didn't just get those abilities overnight, right? It's been a few years in the making. And I realize there's people who have been doing spiritual work for 20 some years or longer, certainly longer than me. And so then I come on the scene, I have my awakening at the end of 2014, and here I am writing 3 books. I've got oracle cards in the works that are going to be
yay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yay.
They're powerful. People touch them and burst into tears, and they haven't even done anything with them yet.
Oh my God, I can't wait. You tell me when. I gotta have these.
I'm gonna put them up on Kickstarter because I publish everything myself, because I want to retain the integrity of my work and keep the vibration of it, which is really important for us, right? The energy. And so all of my books have been self-published. I'm very, very careful with it all, who does what.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's critical to me. So my books are about 10 grand a piece to develop fully and properly. Yeah, because I don't have an investor or publisher backing me, right? So I've been doing it all on my own. And so the oracle cards are no different. If anything, they're a lot more. I'm in the whole, I've invested about 11 grand into them so far, because they
not in the hole, invested.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in the hole. I should say, I'm certainly not in the hole. But no. I have invested that without anybody even seeing them, without them actually being a card deck yet, right? And so we're in the final stages, and it's really exciting because they're not like any other cards you're going to find on the market. They're just not.
Good.
There's a combination of the elements in them. There's a combination of symbols. There's there's just.
Oh, I feel a spirit session show coming on too.
Yeah. They're beautiful too. The artwork is just outstanding. That was really.
Do you do your own artwork?
No, I have somebody that did that for me. She's actually quite a famous artist. She's a photographer, and she lives here in Airdrie, and I was fortunate enough to hire her to do all the artwork. So I'm right in the process of having them printed, and so I'm going to start sharing them. And there's going to be the regular deck, the holographic deck. I'm looking at getting tins made so that there are, so you can have, you get the collectible kind of stuff, so you only release it at Christmas just because of the cost, right? But, getting the tins embossed, there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes. So I want to have them released hopefully by February. So I figured I'd put them up on Kickstarter and get people to pre-order and help do the launch, because go big or go home, right? You might as well do it right, do it perfect the first time. And I'm so stoked about that project.
That's so
because
awesome.
I just got my book out, so I need a new project, obviously, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
show us that book. It's called Spiritual Reality, a collection of blogs for the spiritually awakened. Imagine the stories. Imagine everything that she puts in there. That book is going to be a go-to book. I feel it. You can go to it. Oh yeah, I can't wait.
I'll give you some of the things that are in it. So they're all blogs that I'd written over a year and a half. And it's so cool getting the feedback from people that have been reading it already. It's interesting because everybody is zeroing in on one particular chapter. And it's like, oh my gosh, when I got to that chapter, I knew that's what I needed to do, and I did it, and holy smokes, I feel better, and that's all I needed, and it's like, now I'm off
Oh,
to the races again. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm really happy that
wow.
it's helping people. Yeah,
Oh,
because in each, so the way it's written, each chapter stands on its own. It's its own, like, topic, right?
right,
So
right. Okay.
the topics are, well, there's a whole section on empaths, of course. There's a
Yes.
section on cleansing and grounding, because that's important. There's a section on Reiki and chakras. There's a section on healing. That's a pretty big one. In that section, we've got, topics about depression, past lives, how they affect us, personality, love thyself, um, forgiveness, all that kind of stuff. There's a section on
Wow.
guides and angels. There's a section on spiritual alignment. Some of those are about beliefs, transcending fear, new souls, living in alignment, authentic approach. Those are just some of the titles.
Wow.
Another section is about psychics and mediumship, busting myths about psychics. Oh my gosh, there's so many myths about psychics.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just, I'm like, no, okay, we got to put some of this to rest right now. Hollywood has lied to you. They lied.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll just come up to you and know everybody, and know everything about you. I don't want
Oh,
to see
yeah.
her.
Yeah. They're like, are you reading my mind? I'm like, no, I have better things to do, believe it or not.
True. It's so true.
Spiritual practitioners, so how to choose a healer, talks about competition, which even in the spiritual world is rampant.
Oh,
Um,
no.
spiritual etiquette. Then another section, traveling for spiritual pursuits. So I went to Kauai and Sedona to validate what
Ooh.
people said about those locations. So I
Ooh.
share that. Spiritual protection. So how to remove unwanted souls in your house.
Oh, right. Right
Oh,
on.
cool.
Yeah, and I also talk. There's a blog about my energy
Oh,
protection blend
oh,
that is
nice.
for empaths and stuff, and people swear by it. It changes lives.
Oh, yay.
And then the last section's on other endeavors, where I just kind of talk about my other books, and I talk about why I wrote my first book and final thoughts, things like that. So, yeah, it's available now on oh gosh, from me. You can get it through me. You can get it through Amazon in Canada or US. You can get it through Barnes and Noble. You can order it. So it's available through all the chains and stuff if you order it. It's just coming onto the shelves now, though, because it's just so newly released.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
how
just released it
exciting.
like less than a month ago, right?
hmm Yeah, so it's still working its way through the system. But yeah, it's available now.
Oh,
Um,
Wow.
so
What a support that book is. And that's what my group is about. My show, your cosmic support team. This book needs to be on your shelf for support to you. As every one of you go out there and experience things, this book is going to give you validation, healing, clearing. It's going to be amazing. So do
yeah,
yourself a favor and put that on your shelf. Keep it
thank
by
you.
your bed.
Some people
so
did.
I think
I hear everybody going, I'm highlighting, and I'm like, are you gonna have the whole book highlighted? Because it's kind of like here's what you need to do, right? So,
if
but
you're experiencing these symptoms, you know you aren't weird. You're
right,
just the other normal.
That'll be another book. Yeah, no.
I know. I'm like, what do I put in my next book, right? I've already got 3 books out. What's next? And
Yeah.
I
Oh.
sometimes wonder if it's gonna be just there's
I
so
think
many
it's a
different
crystal book.
things.
I think it's a crystal book.
Yeah,
No.
meeting the divas and stuff. That sounds so
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds.
I do a workshop on that to teach
Yeah,
people about them,
I think.
because they're in a different reality from us, right? And
Yeah,
so people don't
I love it.
realize when they're communicating with crystals, it's like you're not communicating with the crystal, you're communicating with the
Yeah,
crystal diva associated with the crystal.
right.
So
I love
cool.
that.
So cool.
But they're
Yeah, I
very
think that.
different. They're very different. People expect them to be a lot like their guides, and they're not. They're not at
Yeah,
all. And
they're ancient, aren't they?
well, they've been around a long time, so I guess you could say that, yeah. But it's that they're very it's almost like working with 2-year-olds, right? Like there's some that are very wise and much older, but those aren't always the ones you get, right? Because there's so many different, like the way the crystal kingdom works, it's very different from the angelic realm. The angelic realm, they don't have a hierarchy structure, right? It's like
Right.
everyone's equal. That's just how it is,
Right.
right? They don't put themselves
Right.
above or below, or we're just,
Right.
everybody
That's a
has their
people thing.
roles, right? And that's
Yeah, they're
why
all divine.
that's why I like working with them so much, because it's like I don't put them above me, they don't put me, right? Like we just work together, period.
Yeah.
But with the crystal kingdom, it's very much a hierarchy kind of structure. And so I didn't know this until I met the queen of the crystal kingdom. And the way she was explaining it to me was that it's like she rules, and she's like the wise one, the elder, the one who oversees all, who provides the direction. And then from there, you have your kind of wiser being crystal divas, but there are fewer of them, right? And then carries on from there, and it literally would be like a pyramid, the majority of them being the ones who are, maybe they don't seem quite as knowledgeable to us. They are in what they do, right? And they don't communicate necessarily the same way we communicate with guides, or the way we communicate with angels or other people. So it's a lot like talking to how you would talk to a 2-year-old, right? You're not going to use complicated words, or you're not going to be too exuberant, right? You'll scare them.
Right.
They'll be gone, right? So there's a lot of things to understand when working with them, and some people can't do it. They're like, oh my gosh, they're too hyper, or they're too much, I can't do it, right? But if you appreciate them for what they are and try not to make them what you want them to be, then how could you
Hmm.
not love and respect them for,
Good point.
who they are,
Oh,
I
yeah.
enjoy them. Yeah.
That's a good point to take home. I love that.
So yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe that'll be in my next book, or
I
something.
know.
I'm
I
just
love
so
all the wisdom you bring. It's just amazing to sit here and listen to you, for me anyways. I hope you all agree with me. It, I love to sit here and listen. So, yeah.
well, I enjoy the writing, but I enjoy the workshops a lot more. I've really gotten, at first when I first started, I was learning what others had to offer, and I was learning everything I could learn. I was taking every workshop I could take. I spent a fortune on taking all these workshops. But then after a while, I kind of plateaued. There was nothing available anymore that was of interest to me, and I just wasn't getting as much out of it anymore. So then I started developing my own workshops, and I've developed now, oh gosh, I have so many, right? The ones I listed before. I also recently wrote a Angels and Archangels workshop. That's like a couple hour, I like to have the 2 hours, so you can do them in the evening, a 1 day workshop, a 2 day workshop, right? And then like the more complicated stuff, like the Yasui Reiki, where you kind of have to get the foundational work. It's level 1 and 2 is 2 days, level 3 and 4 is 2 days. Akashic Records, which is extremely advanced no matter what. I had to break that up into level 1 is 2 days, level 2 is 2 days, level 3 is 1 day, because it's just so comprehensive, right? And that's still just introductory stuff. I mean,
Oh,
Right.
wow.
really,
But
yeah,
then
like
it's all
you
the
have to,
practice.
right? Exactly. It's the experience, that the practicum work, the actual doing of it, where you really, really learn everything you're going to learn, right? And then I'm still learning stuff every day, like all the time. I find out something new. And it's the same thing with my abilities, the way they come in. It's, I don't always know what abilities I'm going to have tomorrow. right? And like with the infinity healing, I'm always adding new things. Human beings are so complicated, right? And so every time I find something new, because of somebody that needed help with something, and then I realize I have the ability to do that, so then I add it to this list that I have going of all the things that I can, heal psychically. And it would sound really weird to an outsider listening to me and my partner Ken, reading off the stuff that we're doing. It's like, you might as well be speaking Greek, because we've just come up with code words for all this stuff, because really I'm the only one that really knows what I'm doing, right? So I just tell Ken, write this down. This is, and I don't even know sometimes what that stuff heals. I just know this is what I need to do. So I give it a code name, which reminds me of what that thing is I need to do for people. But sometimes I get abilities where I actually know how to apply them, and I know what the results will be. I like those ones better. Those are more fun. Like
Where you
yesterday,
can
for
see
example.
right away, right? You can see
Yeah,
the
exactly.
instant feedback.
You
Yeah,
get
that's
you get some tangible feedback, which is fun. Yesterday, I realized when my friend asked me to do some healing on her sunburns, because 'tis the season, right? Everybody's getting burnt like
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
It's been hot. And of course, lovely clothing, or women's clothing is so fancy, and she's got the pretty straps across the back, and so you see this big white X across her back. I'm like, ooh, X marks the spot, hey? And so she's like, yeah, it hurts, I can't have my shirt touching my skin. It's like, ow, 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 ow. So thinking I'm just going to do what I usually do, which is just kind of healing work, sending energy into the body to heal, right? Sending source energy to her is what I assumed was going to happen. But then when I put my hands close to her, I'm like, nope, I can draw the heat out. I can
Wow.
pull out the pain. I can pull out the inflammation. I can pull out the heat. I'm like,
Wow.
that's new. So I tell her this, and she's like, okay, do it, do it, do it. So I start pulling off the heat off her body, and I can feel it in my hand. It's like I'm holding a fireball in the palm of my hand, because I'm just sucking it out. It's not bothering me any, but I can feel it. And she's like, literally, holy smokes, I can actually feel it cooling down as you're doing it. And I don't think it took me very long. I think maybe I spent 5 minutes at most, and I think I'm being really generous, right? Because I wanted to be thorough. And after a couple minutes, I'm like, yeah, there's no heat. There's nothing for me to pull out. Like, there's just nothing there now. I'm like, how does it feel? And she's like, oh, she's like, there's no heat. It feels good. She's like, oh, I can even touch
Oh,
shirt to my skin and it doesn't hurt. And I'm like, well,
what a
that's
blessing.
cool. That's fascinating. I'm like, how else do I use this? How else could it help people? Because I don't really know, right? It's brand new. And so another friend of mine came over for her mentorship session in the evening, and poor dear, mosquito bites all over her legs. She looked like she'd been attacked by like a million
Wow, a
mosquitoes.
swarm.
Oh, and she's itching. You know how it gets so itchy and so like
Yeah.
raw because you scratch and it gets hotter and just
Yeah,
ow,
yeah.
right? And she's like, well, could you maybe just try doing that, pulling the heat out of this bug bite here? Because this is like one really, really bad one, and it's hot. And she's like, yeah, like it hurts. It's inflamed. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if it'll work, but let's try it out, right? Same thing. Drew the heat out, and I could feel the heat. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can feel it getting colder. Like I can feel it cooling off. And then when there was no heat left, I'm like, okay, so how does it feel now? And she's like, there's no pain. I'm like,
No
what?
itch, no nothing.
Pulling
Wow.
the heat out took away the pain. Are you serious?
Wow.
Right? I'm like, well,
that's
that's cool. So now I'm like in my head, how else can we use this, right? What kind of diseases have inflammation? What makes you super hot? What like burns, obviously, but I'm now I'm like, oh, I got to use this. Where do I use this, right? So lucky for me, I've got an infinity healing, online healing
I
on
love that.
Thursday night. I guess that's tomorrow night. So
okay.
I'm like, oh, I have guinea pigs.
Oh
I don't
yeah. What are you
practice that.
bringing you?
There's some, my clients are awesome. Like usually I have about 60-ish people that sign in for the healing. And it's great because I'm always honest with them. I'm like, I'm going to be trying some new stuff, right? Like you guys are absolutely guinea pigs. I have no idea, with some things until I have some experience with it, what you're going to experience, what you're going to feel, what it's going to help you with. Like I need feedback, right? I like you tell me and I will pass that on as I do it in the future, right? So this is going to be one of those ones where it's like, okay, people, we're going to be drawing out heat out of your body and I need to know, what do you feel? What do you experience? What happens for you, right? So I'm kind of stoked
Cool.
about that ability.
I'm going to put that link in the top of
Thank you,
the video.
Rhonda.
So if
Thank
you're
you, because
seeing that
that's just
now.
what my next question is. You are so amazing, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. And I've seen the comments of your clients. It's like they become family forever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's something so special about the relationship there. I like watch from the outside, a little shyer over here. And so I totally appreciate reading all that. So where do the people get a hold of you? Because I want everyone here to do this for themselves. Reach out and get a hold of Kimberly. Learn, listen from her. Where can they get a hold of you?
Oh, I'm actually very easy to reach. My preferred method is Facebook. I know not everybody's on Facebook, but that for me, I find that easier because I have my personal page, but then I also have my author page, right? So my author page is Kim Wuirch author, and that's the group where I can post kind of my professional stuff or my spiritual business, and that's where I have like an events tab where you can actually see all the upcoming events I have, and I always have
Yeah,
tons. There's always
yeah,
like 2 months ahead of stuff, right?
Great.
So
nice.
that's like the business one. But then I have my Employed by Angels group, which is actually
Yeah,
not
that's the
business,
one.
right? That's the community page, right? That's the one where everyone can post and chit
Yeah,
chat and ask questions and support each other, right? And then there's
right.
my personal page, which I don't really do a whole lot with, but I leave my personal page there because it's easier for people to find me. And
Yes.
then my website is just my name, so that's always easy, right? You punch in kimwirch.com. Again, you have all my events, you got some of my background, you got, there's a bunch of links to videos that I've done or interviews. I was on Hay House Radio
Woohoo.
a while back with Jerry Gavin, and, so I've linked some of that stuff on there.
And you've been on
Um,
spirit sessions several times.
yeah, exactly. I do these interviews with these awesome people and live videos, and I try to share those and everything. Where else? My email is kimwirch@hotmail.com. So people find my email through my various pages and send me links that way, which I'm totally fine with. The only thing I don't do is talk on the phone. I am not a person at all
I
because
can
I'm usually
understand that.
I'm either with a client or I'm in a workshop or I'm doing something. So the only times I'm usually actually messing around on Facebook is in between stuff, right? Or sometimes you just can't be making noise that's disruptive to the people around you. So, that's why I like Facebook because I can text when it's convenient. It can be quiet, right?
You
I
could be at
can,
work and do it.
right? Be on the down low, right? So, but for those that don't do Facebook, that's no problem. I am on top of my email every day, and so
Oh,
that's your second best bet for sure. Yeah. But
awesome. Um, you reminded me of one thing while I was listening. In your group, the Employed by Angels, that's where I get to see all your posts that make me laugh and they touch me. You did this other neat thing that was so cool. It was a non-reading reading. How do you call that? Do you remember? You would pull. Yeah, that was the most amazing thing I ever saw. I loved it.
that was a joke.
It was so fun though, and so amazing. I loved that you did that.
You know what it was? A friend of mine had posted that she was having a really bad day. Like she was having a rotten ass day. And I'm like, how do I cheer her up, right? I can't see her. She's wherever she is, and she's hurting, right? My friend is hurting. And so I just want to put a smile on her face, right? And so I don't personally do readings, right? I don't do oracle card readings. It's ironic. I'm creating oracle cards, I know. And I hear it as I'm saying it, but they're not for me. They're for everyone else, right?
Right.
And so I don't, as a part of my business, I don't typically do oracle card readings. I'll teach my mentees how to do it, right? And I do it for fun once in a while because I can. But honestly, I get all the information. I don't need the cards, right? They're just for the show. But they're fun. And so she took all of my Akashic Records courses, and she does Akashic Records readings for people. So I teach them to do the readings so that other people can do it, right? And I'm like, well, since she's somebody who does a lot of readings, she'd probably think it was really, really funny if I did a fake one for her.
Right.
So, of course, I did this fake oracle card reading, I called it. And, to be fair, they weren't very fake, but I said them in a way that it sounded like really silly. And
Yeah,
so
it's
I put
funny.
all these cards out, and I took a picture of it, and then I wrote this reading based on these cards, but it was like just silliness, right? And I had posted it for her, and then somebody else saw it, and they're like, that's hilarious, I want one. I'm like, sure, I had I don't know how many, I have 15 card decks, right? I'm like, sure, I'll do one for you, right? So I did one for her, and she's like, oh my God, that's hilarious, and she posts that, and I swear, it just started a land wave. It was like everybody wanted one, right? One after the other. Could you do one for me? Could you do one for me? Right? And then so I must have done probably 30 of them in 2 days, right? Just these big work
it was
cards.
amazing.
And people are just killing themselves laughing. And then there were some comments just like, well, that's not very fake.
I know. I bet in the fakeness, you really hit it.
It's like that. It seems awfully accurate for being fake, but some of them were funny because you're like, I was insulting them in a way, right? Making fun of the things that, what they would think of as weaknesses or things they needed to work on, but it was all in jest, right? It was like poking fun, and so no feelings were hurt in the making of these fake oracle card readings, and everybody had a really good time, right?
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, I'm like, well, I have to stop these
sure.
because they're just taking up so much of my time.
I love that. It was fun. That was a fun couple of days. Yeah, I couldn't believe how many you put out. That was so amazing. But yeah, it was fun. I liked that. So, well, I want to thank you, and I hope that I've showed everyone who's watching just how amazing Kimberly is. Go and look her up. She's somebody you want in your life and you want to be touched with, So look her up and do that. And I want to thank Rhonda, who's at work. Thank you for being here and helping me host it. And I want to thank all of you. Next week will be my last show, and I'm planning on spending time with you guys. We're going to discuss things, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And then I may just continue the show on my own page. I may not. I may enjoy the break. So we'll see. So next week, we're going to be talking about all the different things that we'll just talk to each other and visit next week. But I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope you feel the energy from Kimberly as much as I do. So I love you all, and I thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you, Kimberly. Bye.